I don't want to be exhausted anymore. My mom, it's not that she's bad with her money. She's just taking care of so many kids, but it's just like, she doesn't have that flexibility. She's works hard. She's exhausted. And I had a glimpse of what that could look like if I didn't make my money right. Who's on that, bro?
Just wondering, you got the loans too?
Huh?
Your loans, student loans, scales off too?
No, that's an ongoing discussion.
Oh, okay.
But guess who got their loans off first, though?
Oh, yeah, because you don't know.
I guess who has more money.
Pay a full ticket off, right?
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Hey, my name is Obi. This is my...
We're friends, bro. We're friends.
This is my friend Kelvin.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
And we're going to be talking about the most important lesson that we've learned when it comes to money and personal finance.
Shoot, go ahead. You gotta go.
Okay, so the most important thing that I've learned is to delay gratification. What that means is essentially you put off buying things that you want now to set yourself up for the future. And so I don't really know when I started putting this into practice, maybe a year ago. And I don't really know how it started. I think in the past I used to spend a lot of money, and I used to work at Nordstrom, and so I was spending a lot of money on clothing. And at the time I was going out a bit more often, so for like drinks or for dinners or whatever it may be, I was just spending more money. And I was actually spending more than I was making at the time. And pretty much if I wanted something, I'd end up just buying it. Now, I don't really spend a lot of money. I know Kelvin was complaining that I don't pay him.
No overhead costs. No check has been signed to Kelvin for all of this. But that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not cheap. I'm generous.
Because we're friends.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I think I might want to restart that. Trying to think. How do I want to talk about this?
What topic do you want to talk about?
I feel like delaying gratification is huge.
Yeah. Because I wanted to talk about the perception of wealth.
Okay, so yeah, when it comes to delaying gratification, the reason that it's so important is because it helps you manage how much money you're saving and how much.
Oh! You so disrespectful to say. Joe, you just standing there.
Sorry.
When it comes to delaying gratification, it's important because it helps you be more intentional about saving and investing, because every time you're about to spend money, you ask yourself, do I need this? Can it wait? So whether it's a new suit or a new dress, new shoes, video games, jewelry, whatever it is, you're always going to take the time to ask yourself, do I need this now? And so how that's helped me is that I'd say about a year ago, I essentially stopped spending money on things that I didn't need, or at least I stopped doing it as frequently as I was doing in the past. And I just, the way I say it is that I just hate spending money.
I'm an extreme cheapskate.
I don't really know. I don't know how else to say it.
That's why he doesn't pay us.
I just don't really like spending money, and I'd rather see it in my bank account than me buying something, even if it's something that I feel I deserve or something that I really want. I end up just not getting it.
No, that's good. I mean, delaying gratification kind of leads into my point. Mine is just understanding the perception of what wealth really looks like. I have glorified just mass, the mass exuberance of riches, the cars, the clothes, the jewelry, the houses, the parties, all of that. And to me, growing up, I was like, okay, you have to be well off to have those things. And that's not necessarily true. Really enough, kind of like Obi, now Obi makes more money and spends less. A lot of the people that I know that are doing very well with their money, you wouldn't even be able to tell that they're in the bracket that they're in. They live really modestly. It's because they live within their means. They're very intentional about where their money is going, and they're not too worried about what other people think. Dave Ramsey will talk about keeping up with the Joneses, and what that means is to keep up with Instagram, social media, what you see there. I mean, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it, but people will go broke just to impress people that they don't like. And so that perception of wealth has been a huge game changer to me. It's not about what you have. It's not about what you look or how you look. A lot of the times, the people that have the most money, you would not be able to tell because they're not worried about how it looks on the outside. So I think the perception of wealth has been huge. I mean, growing up too, I mentioned this in a previous video. My dad had cool cars. Man, I thought we were rich. And then when I went to college and started asking for money, I was like, oh, we ain't rich.
I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money.
we definitely not rich, but no, it's just like that perception of money is, it's false, you know. You can see a lot of fancy stuff. You don't know what people actually have. So yeah, don't fall into that.
Very, very true. Having worked in retail and also being someone who used to spend, I guess, a lot of money on clothing, just from what I've seen, a lot of people who like on the outside, they look like they've got money. A lot of times they don't. Yeah, and I mean, going off of what Kelvin just said, like I spent a lot of money when I didn't necessarily have it. And for me, it was just like, should I get, like, I put it into perspective of the things that I could buy. So when I was younger, I would spend money a lot on just food. And then gradually my mind shifted to like, oh, like money, I could use this to buy a car, or I could use this to buy a house, or I could use this to do tons of things. I can use it on experiences. Like my money can have a range. If I save, what I spend it on will have less of an impact. So one of the stories that I posted to Instagram in the past was last year I went on vacation with my brother to California, and I ended up spending I ended up spending $3,000.
My blood pressure rose on the spot. Oh.
I ended up spending $3,000 during the week that we were there. And at the time, like after the vacation, I only had $13,000. So I spent a large proportion relative to how much money I had at the time just on that trip. And that wasn't necessarily a smart thing to do. Whereas now, like I can't remember the last time I've spent close to $3,000 on anything outside of investments, because my mindset shifted to not like what can I spend my money on, but how can I make more money? And so I'm constantly looking for ways to make more money so that eventually, like, it's not a question of, oh, can I afford this? It's just like, I want this, like I'm gonna go get it.
13,000. No. No, that's dude, that's real. That's real. I mean, gosh, like I said, it's not about what it looks like. It's not about the perception. It's not about the optics. It's what about is actually there. I mean, I haven't been close to spending that much money in my life, but I know that eventually it's gonna get to the point where it's like buying fancy stuff is gonna lose its taste, but like building something for the future is gonna be so much more fruitful. And I think another thing that finances can do for you is it allows you to give. And so I'm at a point where it's like, you know, having a whole bunch of money one day is gonna be dope. Getting to that point where we have a boatload of money would be incredible. But at the same time, it's like the investing and the planning that Obi is taking right now will give him the ability to leave a legacy for his family members and for people that just need help in general. I mean, the people that are spending money on X and Y and Z, like that's great, but it's all for themselves. Whereas like what you're building is generational wealth. What you're building is something that is impactful to people that are outside your circle. It goes way bigger than just like retiring and living gloriously. When you invest properly, when you keep your money, and when you're intentional with it, you could the mobility you have and the freedom that you have to do with your money is so much greater than buying a car down the street. That's gonna depreciate as soon as you drive it off the lot, or buying a gold necklace. but for real, like what you're doing is generational, and that's what it comes down to. Is like the delayed gratification isn't like you're not tapping into that gratification in retirement. Like people will be reaping the benefits of what you're doing right now, like your kids and their grandkids, like for years and years down the road. But that comes with the intentionality, that comes with delaying it a little bit and like being smart with your money.
Making sacrifices.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You guys want to come over here and ask a question?
What inspired like the mind shift for you, I guess? Like when did you realize like I should actually be like saving money and like investing it rather than spending it? Because it seems like there's definitely a point in your life where you like kind of just started thinking about that more. Until those sirens go, but
I love that question.
there's probably so many people are like in a similar position to you where they're just spending money like out of college because they don't really have, it's hard to see like the future, you know, and look forward to that, but like there's definitely a shift where you're like, damn, like I want to have generational wealth like you were saying. Okay, we're good to go. That sounds good.
Yeah, so the shift for me came, I can't pinpoint it, but I used to do, I'd say, a lot of expensive things and I didn't have a lot of money. No, I don't really know how to.
Why did you do those things? Or like what, were you just like, eventually you're like, okay, I need to invest this money. There's a better way to use this money.
Well, I guess the better way to say it is, so with how I was spending money, I asked myself, like, why am I doing this? And who am I doing it for? Am I doing it for myself? Am I doing it to look a certain way to people like on the internet or people that I interact with? And so like with my car, so a couple years ago I got a Mercedes, and an ongoing like mental thing that I've gone through, like even up to today, is like, why did I buy that car? Because I tell myself, like, I bought it because I felt at the time that I deserved it for working hard and for hitting my savings goals. But I asked myself, did I get it because I think on the outside, like, it looks like I am really successful and like this is a status symbol, like with driving a Mercedes. And I would say like I have plenty more money now than I did at the time. And no, backtrack.
Well, let me flex. Really.
No. So, because it's, I don't know. I think a lot of people. So, I don't want to like.
Hey, Church, can you pass
I'm
me
trying
the
not to
water?
like shit on people.
I feel like this is a good thing though, because so many kids are like, people who are following this account are like probably in a similar position that you once were, you know, that's why they're like starting to follow it and stuff.
Nick, what was the initial question? Like, what gave you the mindset?
Yeah,
shift?
what eventually, I mean, even last time we did an interview with you were talking about your brother, right? Who had some money he made.
Hey, my brother's doing well, by the way. Shoot.
Yeah,
I gotta give you guys an update. Did I tell y'all? Okay, what I did was I went up to my brother and I was like, okay, I'm only gonna work as hard as you work for your money. So what I did was I was like, hey, for every dollar you save, I'll match it. And his first paycheck, I was like, so how much you want in your savings? He goes, 60%. I was like, I was happy, but then I was like, I ain't got it like that. So we're probably gonna have to put a cap on this money. But I mean, he's made, including the match, like, is that like $500 this summer? It's like, man, that's solid. He's 14. Yeah, he's 14. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's great. That's great.
Really good.
I was barely touching that at 18.
No, but for your, like, my mind shift came from exactly, Joe, what you were talking about, bro. College was the worst 4 years of my life, by far. For those of you who aren't close with me, like, I went to Seattle U, great school and everything, but really expensive. More like a year's worth of tuition was like pretty much what my mom made in a whole year. So it's like I had to find ways to cut back costs. And so what it looked like for me was I'd wake up at 4 a.m., drive to school, get there by 5, make sure that I get a free parking spot because I can afford to park in Seattle, go to my job for 3 hours, go to class, then I would leave, go volunteer, and then I would do homework and just repeat. And so not having any savings, not having anything ready for like my life at that point financially made me have like college should be the best 4 years of your life, by far the worst 4 years of my life, because I wasn't prepared financially whatsoever. And I'm thinking like, shoot, I don't want to be exhausted anymore. My mom, it's not that she's bad with her money, she's just taking care of so many kids, but it's just like she doesn't have that flexibility. She's works hard, she's exhausted, and I had a glimpse of what that could look like if I didn't make my money right. And so I did make some sacrifices by staying at home and living with my parents and stuff, but I had a mind shift. I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't constantly be exhausted. I can't miss out on people's birthdays because I need sleep. Like, I wanted to actually be able to enjoy my life. And once again, that financial freedom gives you that, like, that breathing room. It gives you that breathing room, and I've never experienced financial freedom before, and I'm still kind of working on it. Being out of that student loan debt helps a lot, but man, I'm just like, I don't want to be exhausted every day. Like, I want to spend my life going to my kids' games and like supporting the people that I love, like not being at work constantly or finding ways to just cut costs and just breaking my back for the sake of money. So that's where I was like, man, I can't do this. Like, and I was like, man, after college, I'm about to get a high paying job. We still working on that. But I was like, after college, like, I'm gonna make sure I get my money right, because I don't want my kids to go through this. I don't want my little brother to go through this, who's gonna be going to college in 4 years. Like, that mind shift changed. Like, I was humbled greatly. Over my 4 years, and I had to make a change.
And Nick, earlier you asked like when the shift occurred as far as like how I thought about money. And I can remember, like, I think it was like 2 years ago, I told my brother that like my biggest goal is that I don't want to ever have to check my account before I buy something. And I know that's like, this is something like so small, and I know like everybody, like, I know a lot of people say that, and it's like, oh, I never want to think about money. And so, but I think it's, for some people, that it's a lot closer than you may realize. It just really depends on like creating a plan around it. And so for me, like, it's crazy because I remember last year I had $13,000, and then right now I'm a few months away from having saved $100,000. And so life just like, it changes really quick, and it's just crazy what you can accomplish when you create a plan. And I went from like wanting a lot of things to being able to afford them and still not buying them, just because I realized like saving and investing and preparing for the future so that I can live comfortably is a lot better than like spending all of my energy enjoying life right now. And I think it's important to enjoy life.
Absolutely.
Because you never know when it's going to end. But I think there definitely needs to be a balance, and a lot of people don't have that. And I'm not trying to shame people, but I think especially with like younger individuals, like college students, high school students, it really all just starts with a plan and creating goals, setting goals, whether they're financial goals or career goals, because it just helps you be a lot more intentional about the actions that you take and the things that you do.
Cool. Dang, that was dope.
Got it.